All right, everyone. It was just a lightning storm, actually, so, it's been about 25 minutes. It's cleared out. You get to see there's still actually some water upon the collards from it, and they're doing well. You cut from the bottom, you can make a little understory, so to speak. Lots and lots of Swiss chard, most of which is more or less unaffected by wilt at this point. It's actually looking pretty good, nice and green and everything, and what I'm assuming is that the azomite gave it that boost that it needed for its resistance. Lots of basil, enormous amounts of mint. Gonna have to cut more chamomile probably tomorrow. Literally less than a week ago this was all cut down so there were no new blossoms. Now it's time to do it again, and then it'll be time to do it again in another week, and then it should put out one final flush, and those will be allowed to go to seed. And what I'm going to do is cultivate them everywhere once this is permacultured and or once the garden is expanded. It's really what I wanted to do. Azomite plus that Neptune's Harvest stuff also appears to have cured this of its problems. This is beginning to generate new growth, and actually it's got another little thing on there, so the yucca's doing fairly well. Not really part of the garden, but these peppers are growing. They've grown massively. Lots of mustard. The cabbage is doing well. The real star at the moment is the cucumbers, though. You see, these get wilty, but it doesn't matter. It takes so long to kill them, you'll eat them before the end of the year, or you can put them in the freezer or whatever. The zucchini isn't doing quite as well. Like greenery-wise, it's really great. Sometimes, though, the fruit comes out and it rots almost immediately, so it's a big problem. And there are so many cucumbers. There are about, I'd say, 9 that'll be ready soon. You can see a couple of them there. I picked 3 the other day. There are going to be 4 or 5 ready tomorrow, and probably another half dozen within a couple of days. There are an enormous number of tomatoes, some of which are ripening. That's a Roma. There's some Romas down in there that are turning red. Plenty of Black Princes. A couple are ready now. Lots and lots of the cherry tomatoes, the Huskies, which are, I think, superior. I actually prefer the Husky over the regular cherry tomato. It's less leggy, it's much more compact, and it actually seems to bear a little bit more fruit. See, these the fruits on there are more close together. They're less spaced out, and so in the same area you can probably get a little bit more fruit in, and I think they're a little bit more resistant to certain kinds of wilt. Lots of poppies and Nicotiana. They're all nice, because it just rained and it's fairly cloudy. They're in full bloom at the moment. Sometimes they close up during the day in the heat of day. Just got about, I'd say 10 to 15 pounds of green beans actually out of these 6 rows. They've all been picked down, but you can see they're still flowering. There's going to be another picking in a few weeks, and that'll probably be almost as big as the first. So we're going to get, I don't know, about 30 jars of green beans or something. We're planning to pickle about a dozen, and then have 3 larger jars of the regular kind. You got to pressure treat it. Unless you're pickling it, then it's a little bit more safe, but still, it's best to use pressure. Lots of spaghetti squash. 1 there is ready, 1 juvenile, same over there. There are a couple in here. That one's definitely ready. There's a couple in the corn. These ones didn't produce really much of anything. There's a couple in here. That one almost looks like a hybrid of some sort. It doesn't look like a true spaghetti squash. I'm gonna have to monitor that and see. Lots of flowers everywhere. But yeah, literally everything is growing really, really well. And you gotta realize we still got about 6 weeks left in the growing season. That's literally it. About 6 weeks. Technically 7. Halfway through September, basically, you got a 50-50 chance any given day of getting a frost at night. But that's enough time for everything to go and mature. That's enough time to get cabbages, which a light frost won't kill. All of these tomatoes will have been ready by then. That's an enormous quantity. It's got to be about, I'd say, 40 pounds overall of tomato. And that's all the corn, dozens and dozens of cobs, a few eatings. I'm not a huge corn fan. Other people are. Lots of turnips. Again, those won't die with the frost. An enormous number of cucumbers, zucchini, spaghetti squash, mustard seeds, and other stuff, other goods. Lots of herbs, plenty of tea. And just think, next year, what I'm thinking of is the possibility of a DIY project. What I'm thinking, there are 2 possibilities. The first is to expand the cat yard and have it professionally dug in. One side is the house, so it doesn't need to be fenced. That decreases the cost by about a quarter. Put in a double gate for the septic tank and just build a massive garden there. Turn this into permaculture. The other possibility is to bring that side in this way, about 10 feet, almost completely cutting off all of these beds. What would happen is that they'd be lengthwise. They would actually go in this direction, that way, and be a standard like 4-foot bed. The fence would be, well, if that was a 4-foot bed, the fence would probably be about here-ish. That would all be cut off, cleared out. And then go out that way about 20 feet, go out that way about 15 feet. And so the garden would be massively larger. It just would be further away from the power lines up here. Getting them away from those is fairly important if that side is to be developed, because otherwise the trucks are going to need to come in from one of these sides. Eventually they're going to get real pissed off at the electric company if there's no access. So either this side or that side, it's easier to expand here, because here you're up against the forest. There's no way to expand really any further. You have to maintain some access. It almost looks like it's an animal or something over here. No, it's just a piece of dead turnip. Never mind. Thought it was a rabbit. I was going to show you something cute, but, turned out it was just something hideous. Yeah, Cthulhu turnip was funny. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more next year regardless. It doesn't matter which way we expand. I've even thought of increasing the area here, like bringing it in maybe even a little bit this way, and then connecting it to the backyard fence, to the garden, to the cat yard. They could be connected. It would just take a lot more effort and or money, and I'm not willing to expend the effort or the money for the most part. So one of the two solutions is the cat yard turns into a garden. This is permaculture. The other solution is this: gets a new fence, it's going to be a 5-foot fence, half a foot dug into the ground with a rototiller. You put the stakes into the ground, they'll be the 5-foot stakes instead of the 4s. And then it'll be more stable. It'll last for at least 10, 20 years, at least, probably longer. And it'll be really, really great. And then in the future, the hope is that the income will be high enough to replace it with a split rail with a bunch of chicken wire over it or something. Long in the future, have the whole property fenced off. But yeah, everything's growing really well. I'm going to eat those later. Be jealous. Leave you with a shot of this Flowey. That's about all. Peace out.